John, Proxy on Channel West, and sitting next to me is
the Explody.
And we are about to begin a Metal Gear Solid Broventure, and yes, we are playing the classic PS1 classic.
But are we really brothers, or are we clones of one another?
We'd have to. Well, it's not a clone venture, is it?
It isn't.
It's a Broventure. Normally I would have started recording later on in this, but I wanted to see the entire this. How long has it been since you last played Metal Gear?
The first Metal Gear?
This Metal Gear here, yeah.
I haven't played the first Metal Gear for over a decade.
I think it's been a while.
I don't think I've actually completed it in English.
Oh yeah, because you
I originally had chipped my own PS1 and got a Japanese copy of the game when it released, and had a very hard time trying to complete it. Lots of the tricks that Hideo put in, I had no way of knowing about.
It's very I guess nowadays they call it trolley. Do we skip this and go to the story and come back to this bit? Because I know there's a briefing we should be doing first. Or do we watch this first?
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by Next Generation Special Forces, being led by members of Foxhound.
What's this making you want to say damn lots?
It looks really good, like on my giant screen.
Yeah, it does look good. I mean, it's one of those games where
within 24 hours,
its
they'll launch a nuclear
style is good enough to make it look good this many years later.
Objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as
it's really good beginning. It's really weird how it does really tell you.
You're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike, and stop them if they do.
Okay, we are successfully recording.
We'll approach the disposal facility.
It's always good to know the insertion method.
Then launch a one-man SDV.
That's a swimming delivery vehicle.
After the gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
That's my tugboat in the background, being tugboaty.
High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was commander of. So they're still around.
I know that as well.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mattis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper
Sounds
Wolf,
lovely.
Psycho
beautiful
Manti.
and deadly sharpshooter.
What I heard.
Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant
He's a bit
in
handsy
shape.
though.
And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
Dun dun.
A man with the same codename as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons.
So that was a
equipment
dumb
OSP.
question.
Yes, this is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
Cheers. I know the resolution's awful, but I don't know. It's just it looks really nice still. I'm genuinely surprised.
Yeah, it's a great looking game, and yeah, it still holds up in its own special way. I was going to say quickly about the codec. This is just after, well, it was a couple of years after the end of Mega Drive and everything, but this is one of the few games where, if you looked in the manual, or on the back of the actual box, you could find one of the codec codes.
Yes.
Which is definitely a throwback to the old Mega Drive days where they'd accidentally stick a level select where you get to the last level in the manual.
Oh yeah, I guess it's also good for piracy. Because I know lots of really old games have these really kind of cool kind of card things. You have to do little puzzles before you get into the game. And this is cool because it does like 10 hours in the game. So I hope you got the official box. Otherwise you're screwed. Yes. So I'm playing this downloaded from the PlayStation Store, but I do actually have the box in front of me. I just The reason I use this, I know you know this, Luke. I'm telling the audience at home. I've got to.
But tell me more.
Yes, I thought it would be. The CDs are going to be broken, basically. They're very old. So yes, before we go into the new game, we're going to go into the briefing. A button in no other game. This is going to be episode 0. If you've been
Code Zero.
Code 0. Oh no, it's going to be episode 0.
Oh.
Go away, you code nonsense. Basically, the game will start in episode 1. So when we finish the briefing,
Yes.
I will end the video, and so people who don't give a damn about the briefing can skip. Anyway, let's. Oh, of course, X is cancel, circle is go, and I get it. Like they made the controller with a purpose, but yeah. Tonight, okay, briefing.
All they have to do is just say Metal Gear 3 times in a row, and it would have been enough for me. Metal Gear? Metal Gear.
Instead, I'm going to force you to sit next to me for like 30 hours
Been a
while
long
we play the
time,
entire
Snake.
series.
I should have known you were behind this, Colonel.
That's no way to greet an old war buddy, Snake.
What do you want from me?
I just invited you here so we could have a talk.
Invited? That's what you call sending armed soldiers after me?
Sorry if they were a little rough with you.
They didn't
We've got
strip
a
him, he
serious
decided to do that.
situation here. Only you can get us out of it.
I'm retired from Foxhound. You're not my commander anymore, and I don't have to take orders from you or anyone else.
You will take these orders. I know it.
Excuse me.
Who's this?
Dr. Naomi Hunter. She's chief of Foxhound's medical staff and an expert in gene therapy.
Are you military?
No, civilian. I've been sent here from ATGC. Pleasure to meet you, Snake. Don't worry, this injection won't hurt a bit.
What's the shot for?
What's wrong? You don't like shots?
Snake, listen
Plot
up.
device, isn't it? The shots.
It all went down 5 hours ago. Heavily armed
This isn't.
soldiers
They put the plot
occupied
device in the
Moses
secret
Island,
briefing that
on
Arcade
Rhode
has
Island
never
off the
pressed.
coast of Alaska.
What soldiers?
Next generation special forces, led by members of Unit Foxhound. They've presented Washington with a single demand, and they say that if it isn't met, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
Oh
A
dear.
nuclear weapon?
I'm afraid so. You see, the island is the site of a secret nuclear weapons disposal facility.
Just tell
Foxhound
people.
hijacking a nuclear weapon?
Now you understand how serious the situation is. You'll have 2 mission objectives.
That would have been my opener.
First,
for
you
getting this
rescue the
grade.
DARPA chief, Donald Anderson. And the president of Arms Tech,
Yeah,
Kenneth
so you
Baker.
kidnap him first. Tell him
They're
about
both
the
being
need.
held as
Yeah.
hostages.
And then give him the option of being
Those are
kidnapped.
some heavy-duty hostages.
Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike, and stop them if they do. Any questions, Snake?
Questions? I haven't even said whether I accept this mission.
Well, you can make up your mind after you hear more about the situation.
Oh, an eject button and everything. Alright, am I in control of this, or is this happening by itself?
Only one way to find out.
Did we just get the mission description? Because it started me here.
Yeah, let's go to the one it's landed you on.
Okay. Circle and not X, of course. Or was it X this time? Oh. That's better.
Tell me about the nuclear weapon disposal facility.
The disposal facility includes a hardened underground base. Even with our most advanced intelligence gathering equipment, we can't tell what's happening inside.
So someone needs to penetrate,
So hard.
gather intelligence, and report back. Sounds like a spy movie. What's the insertion method?
Well,
I
an
don't
air
think they should ever
insertion
use
is
that line in
impossible.
anything ever.
Not with the
Because it,
storm
it just
going on.
invites
We'll
people
approach
to
the disposal
criticize.
facility by sub.
Approach.
Yes, within a few miles of it. The facility is equipped with sonar detection capabilities. They'd be able to hear our
Facility.
engine or propeller noise.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV,
Launch.
It's a
Same
swimming
as a
delivery
torpedo.
vehicle.
Only this has no propulsion device of its own.
I remember
After
when
the
I got the badge
SDV
for
gets
that
as close
in
as
school.
it can, dispose of
You
it.
get your bronze.
From there on,
and
you'll
your
have to
swimming
swim.
delivery
You want
vehicle
me to
badge.
swim in sub-zero Alaskan water?
Don't worry. That suit represents the latest advances in polythermal technology. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
This is a lot to give to a
Anyone going
player
with me?
before
As
starting the
usual,
game.
this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes, this is a
So,
top
on-site
secret black
procurement.
op. Don't expect any official support.
Alright, I think that's it. We're going to eject this. Right, how many more of these we got to go? Yeah, this is why this is episode 0. I think if I go down low enough, we get to learn about this Setra and a weapon.
Yeah. What kind of weapon?
No, a weapon with all capital letters. And soldier
Oh.
with all capital letters.
What's the time limit?
24 hours. They say they'll launch after 24 hours.
What the video is just going to end.
Do they say what the target will be?
So far, they
24
haven't mentioned
hours.
the target.
When did the countdown start?
5 hours ago.
That's a good cup of tea.
You're going to have to carry on. It's not cool to go. Sorry. Sorry. You can talk as
I was
well.
overwhelmed by the amount of hours involved. Let's change to operation member. Are we going through each of the characters?
Yeah, just do. We're going to do them all.
Person in charge of operation.
I may cut that bit out.
Colonel, who are you speaking for?
Naturally, I'm representing the U.S. government.
So who's in supervisory control
The
of this
problem with
operation?
Metal Gear,
The President of the
all the
United
talking
States.
is I just want to read it at the same
president
time.
must be meeting with his top aides in the map
I
room
want to feel more
about now,
involved.
No, at this point, there's still video conferencing
I want to feel
with
more
each other.
Snake.
If that's a real nuclear warhead, shouldn't they issue a COG?
Not yet. The Secretary of Defense has
What's a
operational
COG?
control and
Yeah,
is fully
COG.
aware of the situation.
Oh.
After you infiltrate, if you determine they possess nuclear launch capabilities, a COG will be issued.
Well, if they haven't relocated
I
to
wasn't
the
looking at the
nuclear
screen
shelter
again.
in Mount Washington, I suppose there isn't that much reason to worry yet. Is the National Security Agency in on this?
Yes. So is the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
The DIA? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
They'll be sending us some support.
We don't need desk jockeys. We need a nuclear weapons specialist.
Of course. A nuclear weapons specialist has already
Sorry
been
about
assigned to us.
You're feeling a bit better now.
Yeah, I tried breathing through my nose while I had tea in my face.
Tea in your face.
Yeah,
Tea face McGee.
it's a, yeah, so let's go into the support crew. I sort of missed that, because I was cleaning up tea, because I managed to cough.
It evacuated.
Yeah, it's because, yeah, let's just go, let's ignore that entire situation and just press the next button. My word, this briefing is a long time.
We need backup from a specialist. I'm just an amateur when it comes to nuclear weapons.
I
I
know.
love the idea of an amateur nuclear weapons
That's why I've
person.
requested the assistance of a military analyst named
Does it
Nastasha
weekends?
Romanenko.
It's just a
She'll
hobby
be
for
providing
it.
Yeah, it's been like
backup
stamp
by codec.
collecting.
A female analyst?
Oh my word, a female
The
analyst?
press of record as an advisor for the nuclear emergency search team.
It's 97.
Contact
long
her if
ago.
you have any questions. She's also an expert on high-tech weapons.
Where's she working from?
At her home in Los Angeles.
California. Seems like a million miles away.
No, we don't necessarily need to watch all these, but I'm trying to get the full experience, the intended experience, let's say. Let's learn about the person that I've known my entire life.
Colonel, you're retired. Why are you involved in this?
Because there aren't many people who know
Retarded.
Foxhound as well as I do.
Is that really the only reason?
I've been soldiering for a long time. I don't know anything else. I guess even though I'm getting a little old, I still love to be in the field.
Colonel, you're a lousy liar. Tell me the real reason.
Okay, Snake. Sorry. I'll be frank. A person very
be
dear to
worried.
me is being held hostage.
Who is it?
My niece, Meryl.
Meryl. Did the GameCube version have all this?
I never played Twin Snakes.
Huh. So you missed the scene where he jumps on the rocket and rides it.
Nah, well, I got to do a rocket in Bayonetta.
Ah, fair enough.
You
Yeah,
can
but
ride up
she's
that
superhuman
What was
at the
your
very
niece
least.
doing here?
Several soldiers were reported missing the day of the revolt. And my niece was one of those called in as an emergency replacement.
She looks like you.
She's my little brother's girl. He died in the Gulf War. Since then,
Yeah, I
I've
know,
been
that's
watching
how,
after
that's how
her.
nieces work.
Personal motive, Colonel. That's not very soldierly.
I'm retired. I'm just an old man now. And I'm your friend.
Since when are we friends?
Has received
thought of us as
psychotherapy
friends
not
since
to
the
be
fall of
attracted to those
Zanzibar.
of the opposite sex.
With my personality,
He
I
should
don't
just
have
say
too
not to be
many
attracted to
friends.
anyone.
That's what I trust about you. It's what makes
This is
you
the world with a
human.
female analyst.
Please, Snake. Save my niece,
I'm not
Meryl.
talking too much.
All right. But I have two conditions.
Sorry, I'm drinking
them.
ice drink.
One, no more secrets
Occasionally we'll
between
make-
us. I want complete
No
disclosure at all
noises.
times. And two, I'll only accept orders directly from you, Colonel. No cutoffs involved, okay?
Agreed.
gonna
That's
make sure he
why
dresses
I was
correctly.
called. But one
Cut-offs.
What?
thing, I'm not a colonel anymore.
Damn it, I can't
Just a
do a
retired
cocktail,
old war
really.
horse.
I understand, Colonel.
I'm surprised he didn't die the amount of times he said he was retired. I don't know, because that's the day before your retirement, isn't it? It's your last day of the job. Alright, this is, we still have 2 boxes left to go. Very exciting!
Is she part of this operation too?
She was in charge of Foxhound's gene therapy. She knows more about those men than anyone else.
You mean you've seen them naked?
Make no mistake, I'm not a nurse. I'm a scientist.
What?
By the way, what was that injection for?
It's a combination of nanomachines and an anti-freezing peptide so that your blood and other bodily fluids don't freeze, even at subarctic temperatures.
Nanomachines.
Not just one kind, either. There are different types which will replenish the supply of adrenaline, nutrition, and sugar in your bloodstream.
Now I don't have to worry
Upstream.
about food.
I also put some nootropics in there.
Say what?
Nootropics.
Say
Some drugs which will help improve your mental functioning.
It'll make me smarter, huh? Anything else?
Yes, Benzodrine. It's a type of stimulant.
This is
It'll
all
keep
the
you
way
alert
from
and
this
responsive
game.
for
This
12
is
straight
Snake
hours.
smarter than
That
normal.
was quite a cocktail. Anything else in there?
Those nanomachines will also keep your Codex batteries charged up.
I guess I can call you when I'm ready to go on a diet.
You're welcome.
Oh, you snake.
He's the king of wit.
He is.
Somebody in this group has to be. That was mean, John. What was that all about? Oh yeah, last one. Oh Christ, there's loads. And then we can get on to the actual game.
Here we go. Hostages? Hostages?
The chief of DARPA and the president of an arms manufacturing company. What business did they have at a nuclear weapons disposal facility?
The truth is that secret exercises were being conducted at the time the terrorist group attacked.
Must be extremely important exercises if those two were directly involved. Were they testing some kind of new advanced weapon?
I'm not privy to that
There's
information.
only a diet joke in there.
Do we
so
know
don't worry about it.
exactly
I
where they're
pick one
being
at a time.
held?
The DARPA chief has also been injected with a mini transmitter. As you get closer, you should be able to pick up his location on your radar.
So yeah, this is why this is episode 0, because not a lot's going to happen in episode 0.
Slowly getting there, though. I just can't help it. I just want to say
They
everything.
really have the
in the
ability
same
to launch
voice,
a
when
nuclear
I can't read
They say
anything without
they
wanting
do.
to say it
They
in his
even gave us
voice.
the serial number of the warhead they
voice?
plan to use.
Voice?
What's the number confirmed?
I'm afraid so. At the very least, they've got their hands on a real nuclear warhead.
Isn't there some kind of safety device to prevent this type of terrorism?
Yes. Every missile and warhead in our arsenal is equipped with a PAL, which uses a discrete detonation code.
PAL.
Permissive Action Link. The safety control system built into all nuclear weapons systems.
We're doing Zelda another time.
But even so, we can't rest easy.
Why not?
Because the DARPA chief knows the detonation code.
But even if they have a nuclear warhead, it must have been removed from its missile. All the missiles on these disposal sites are supposed to be dismantled. It's not that easy to get your hands on an ICBM.
That used to be true. But since the end of the Cold War, you can get anything if you have enough money and the right connections.
That was really difficult before the Cold War. And during the Cold War. Didn't tell me what an ICBM meant. That's, I suppose we should go on the next one.
Ballistics missile, something? Ballistic missile, I think?
How well armed are these terrorists? I know there was an exercise going on at the time they revolted.
Oh, I just thought you were making that up.
I don't... they're like cross-continent. Like,
The six members
that
of
makes sense.
Foxhound in charge are all hardened veterans.
It could be a load of crap I just made up on the spot, but it seems to fit quite well.
I'm not going to look it up.
Anything less from Foxhound.
The others are next-generation special forces. They're not your average grunts either.
Well, in this game, the average grunt technically isn't an average grunt.
No. Nano machines.
It's taking this long to figure out what they actually want. Let's just give
So
them to
what
them.
exactly are they demanding?
A person's remains.
Remains?
That's right. To be more accurate, cell specimens which contain the individual's genomic information.
Cell specimens? Why would they want that?
The terrorists need them. You see, these next-generation special forces have been strengthened through gene therapy.
Strengthened?
You've heard of the Human Genome Project. They've been mapping the human genome, and they're nearly finished. Following up on this
97.
research, the military has been working towards identifying those genes which are responsible for making effective soldiers.
There are genes that do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Levi's.
using gene therapy, they're able to
That was
transplant
weak,
those
sorry.
genes into
Although I can't
regular
lie, I did think
soldiers.
about it myself.
Gene
I was trying to think of like cross-stitch.
I'll
I don't know
explain this
anything
part.
about...
With gene therapy, we can remove those genes which we know may lead to sickness or disease, and at the same time splice in genes with beneficial effects, such as resistance to
only
cancer,
they
for
knew
example.
how more
In
complicated
other
it would
words,
get
we
once
can
they actually
overcome all
mapped it.
sorts of genetic diseases, and at the same time add genetic characteristics as desired.
Okay. And so if you knew what genes were responsible for making the perfect soldier, you could implant them in the same way, right?
Yes, we could.
But it all depends on being able to isolate and identify those soldier genes.
And in order to do that, it's helpful if you can study the genomic information of one of the greatest soldiers ever.
Stop.
He was so good that Sean Bean didn't die.
There must be some kind of outtake where he dies, and they bring in his brother. What's the opposite of sharp?
Mr.
Blunt.
Blunt. Either's fine.
He had the recessive genes.
Yeah.
One of the greatest soldiers ever?
The man they call the greatest
No.
warrior of the 20th century.
You don't mean Big Boss.
That's right. We've been working feverishly to identify the genes responsible for his incredible combat skill. So far, we've discovered
what he
about
looks
60
like?
of the so-called soldier genes.
So his body was recovered after all.
Yes, and his cells have remained frozen in a cryo chamber. His genomic information is a priceless treasure to mankind.
Priceless to the military, perhaps.
His body was burned severely, but it was possible
yeah,
to
who else?
restore his DNA
Why-
profile
why
from
can't
just
they
a
just
single
write down?
strand of his hair.
You people are
Data.
amazing.
Yeah,
And then
they
you're gonna
keep the
transplant
sample,
those
yeah?
genes into soldiers?
Yes. We'll use a process that I discovered called gene targeting. The strongest soldiers don't become what they are by acquiring their skills through training or experience. We now know that hereditary factors are far more crucial for creating superior soldiers.
Snake, we can't give them his body. It's potentially more dangerous than all the nuclear warheads on that island put together.
I hear the terrorists are calling themselves
not really,
the
though,
Sons
is
it?
of
No.
the Big Boss.
The sons of Big Boss?
I was expecting an answer then. Right, 2 more to go, and we are over time, but goddamn, we got to finish. I'm not doing this for another episode, so we're finishing this now.
Okay, don't call me Philip.
Tell me about these next generation special forces.
I'll keep that in mind.
They started out as an anti-terrorist special ops unit, made up of former members of biochem units, technical escort units, and the nuclear emergency search team. Their purpose was to respond to threats involving next-generation weapons of mass destruction, including NBC weapons.
Until they
That's
were
an
added,
American
that
channel,
is.
right?
The worst.
Who's they?
They created
These
worse
guys
weapons.
didn't start out as regular army.
Media.
Looks like a pretty international group.
They're
Mercenaries?
not in the...
Yeah, and it
They
gets
were-
worse.
Something
Those were from
HBO
a merc
weapons. That's what I was
agency that
getting
I think
to.
you're familiar with. They were part of Big Boss's private guard. And after Big Boss went down, the military just bought out all their contracts.
Outer heaven.
After that, they were merged with our own VR unit, Force 21, and retrained. If you ask
Yeah,
me,
so Outer
these
Heaven was
so-called
one of the
next-generation
earlier Metal
special
Gear
forces
games.
should be called simulated
I
soldiers.
did wonder.
They have no
although it's
real
mentioned
battle
several
experience.
times, but after
Video
not playing
game
in Metal
players,
Gear
huh?
for a while, it all
Don't
comes
forget,
to
they've all
mush.
been strengthened with gene therapy.
I was tempted
They
to
carry
play those
genes which
games
make them
before starting the
excellent
series
soldiers.
by myself.
Don't get careless just because they
But
don't
then
have
I
much
thought-
experience.
I don't want to.
I thought using genetically modified soldiers was prohibited by international law.
Yes, but those are just declarations, not actual treaties.
The interesting thing is that nearly every member of the unit conspired in this attack.
That is interesting.
A lot of different people doing lots of different things.
So who's looking through this data right now then? Because somebody's injecting. Someone's putting a tape in and out
How
of the
could an
machine.
entire unit be subverted to
It was
rebellion?
Johnny.
They're calling it a revolution.
Isn't he on
Since they all
site?
went through the
Isn't he
same
in Shadow
gene
Moses?
therapy, they probably
is.
felt closer
But
than
it's
brothers.
also-
They see the unit as their only family.
Not
The sons of Big Boss.
messed up.
But if they were regular army, they must have been interviewed periodically by army counselors.
According to their
I know
files, they all
somewhat
got
about
straight
Johnny-
A's on
Johnny
the
Sacco.
psychological tests.
Yeah.
They all seemed like fine, upstanding, patriotic soldiers.
But they all took
But I
part in
remember
the
it's a running
uprising.
joke, isn't it?
No,
Pretty
several people didn't show up on the day of the exercise. That's why there was a resupply of troops.
Was there any
try
sign
not to
recently
show up
that
on
something
damn
might be
exercise.
wrong?
There was a report a month ago that they were acting strangely.
Apparently they consulted classified information about the soldier genes and performed their own gene therapy experiments.
They can do that even without you?
Well, our gene therapy process is almost completely automated. And besides that, they're all geniuses with IQs over 180.
Even the existence of this genome army is a national secret of the highest order. We've been
Sorry,
hoping to investigate this thing
Who would,
quietly.
like, what,
and
just
deal
the
with it
soldiers or
behind
like
closed
just
doors.
the scientists on site are geniuses of 180 IQ?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think everyone. I think that's like the lowest level in the entire the franchise that you could have. Everyone else is so intelligent that they can actually understand the plot.
100, yes, 180. That's like almost double. Yeah, well. Anyway, final one. Unit Foxhound.
Foxhound.
High-tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of. An elite
You
group
should already
combining
know.
firepower and expertise. They're every bit as good as when I was commanding them.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity.
I love
Psycho Mattis, with his
Japanese
powerful
programs love
psychic
doing that.
abilities.
Silhouettes for
Sniper
later.
Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter.
Obviously,
Decoy
only one of them is
Octopus,
better than
Master
the
of
mission.
Disguise.
I just like the fact that whenever
Vulcan
these evil
Raven,
corporations get together,
Giant
the first
and
thing they do
Shaman,
is have a group photo.
and Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter.
Looks like a lovely bunch of folks. Too bad we'll be meeting under these circumstances.
And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
Dun.
Yes. And you're the only person who can stand against him.
Any particular reason why he's the only person that can stand against him?
About the same height.
Oh, we have one more. Can I go there, guys? Metal Gear.
So you can't help it, can you?
Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
God damn.
The man with the same code name as you.
Tell me what you know.
He fought in the Gulf War as a teenager, the youngest person in the SAS. His job was to track down and destroy
Do you think we're
mobile
gonna see
stun
that
missile
in a later
launching
game?
platforms. You were there too, I believe.
Well, yeah, I suppose they
Did you
jumped back to the
infiltrate Western
60s,
Iraq
haven't
with a
they?
platoon of
Yeah, so
Green
they could just go
Berets?
back to the 90s.
I was just a kid
I'm in the
myself back
SAS.
then.
The details are classified, but it seems that originally he
So they don't
penetrated
use
the
the-
Middle East as
the
a
whiny
sleeper for the
teenager.
SIS.
Style.
He was a spy for the British Secret
Found
Intelligence
myself
Service.
in the
But he
Gulf
never
War,
once showed his face in Century
where
House.
puberty can bloom.
He was taken prisoner in Iraq, and after
Well, I
that
suppose
there was
it'd be a
no
somewhat
trace
similar
of him
story
for
to Big
several
Boss.
years.
In
After
Metal
you
Gear 3.
retired, he was rescued and became a member of Foxhound.
I thought that by the
I
time
don't
I
know why I
left,
know
they
what's
were
the
no
end.
longer
This,
using
hence
code
the reason for the adventure.
I don't know his real
Broventure.
name. That information is so highly classified that even I can't look at it.
For some reason.
Here's
even though
a
it's just
photo of
name.
him.
I understand, Liquid Bro.
Pretty shocking, huh? His skin tone is different, but otherwise you two are exact duplicates.
I have a twin?
I don't know the details, but it seems so. That's why we really need you for this mission.
You're the only one who can beat him.
Dun-dun.
Now that I've met you, I know. You've got something that he doesn't. I can see it in your eyes.
A mullet.
Why don't I find that thought more comforting?
That was my phone, man. That wasn't in game. Right, I think that's the last one. Right, so that's the briefing, guys. So I did manage to get tea all over me, so we may have missed a bit of that. I am very tempted to cut that out if I haven't already. Right.
That's the best part. How could you rip out that part?
It may be incomprehensible to you. Sorry, I keep forgetting that the circle button is go and the X button is back. But I've been John Proxy and John Alive. Sitting next to me has been
Explody!
and we've been having. Well, we haven't really. We're about to begin.
Reading.
We've been reading, listening. But we're about to begin. We're about to begin a Metal Gear Solid Broventure. See you in episode 1.